I want to invite you into our farmhouse for a slow winter day. Now, as you can imagine, there is no such thing as a completely slow winter day with 7 kids. But what I mean by that is it's a winter day where we don't really have a whole lot of plans going on. So lots of cooking, homeschooling, obviously we gotta milk the cow, all of those kind of things. We're gonna take you along on that day where we just spend some time in our home. Is it snowing, Danny? Snowing, Mom? It's slick. What do you want to do, Daniel?
I need sled.
You need sled?
Yeah.
Did you see if there's any birds in there? There's not, right?
That looks pretty cool in here.
Okay.
No birds in the silo?
No.
Alright, anything in there? Good thing you checked them last night because they would all be frozen and busted. Is it busted? Perfect. What, you guys confused?
You guys coming or? Today I had some broth going overnight in the Instant Pot. Now I cooked it on low pressure for a while yesterday and then I put it on the warm setting overnight, mostly just because I didn't want to strain it off last night. I just didn't want to. I had too many other things going on. So I had it on the warm function overnight, strained it off. It was a meaty backs and chicken feet bone broth from a local farmer that I get bones from. One of my favorite things to make whenever we are just hanging around the house is a pot of soup to simmer on the back of the stove. For today's soup, I cut up the usual vegetables that I tend to add to any soup. I might vary the soup just a bit by bringing in some other vegetable or ingredient if it's in season, but for a basic soup, I go to potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic, sometimes celery, herbs, salt, and of course, homemade bone broth. I like to saute my vegetables first when making a soup. This really brings out the flavor and the herbs as well. Today I added sausage. I had some from my sister's farm. As I do most days, I made an afternoon espresso and topped it with foamed cream, and now I'm going to work on some sourdough cinnamon rolls. Some of the kids are outside playing and some are down for nap. So I have a little time this afternoon to test a recipe that I'm working on for my blog. By the time this video comes out, I imagine that that recipe will be fully out in printable form over on the blog, but I'm gonna be doing an einkorn cinnamon rolls. Now, I have sourdough cinnamon rolls over on the blog. This is just going to be einkorn without sourdough. Eventually I need to do einkorn sourdough. There's so many different variations and I end up doing them all on my blog usually, but today I'm just going to make more of a quick version and then I'm going to photograph it for my blog as well.
Trying to spin.
You good at trying to spin that?
Thanks, buddy. There you go.
See, I kind of want it to match the couch a little bit. If you notice its legs, maybe the only variable will be the making the slip cover.
What's this for, Mommy?
That's the other option. I can't decide. Okay, as much as I wanted this to be the taller ones, I kind of feel like they look stupidly small. Like stupidly
Narrow,
skinny.
long.
They're gonna have to be the fatter, shorter ones. I almost
Can
can tell you.
finish or?
I guess we could finish and set it down.
Okay.
Yeah. This afternoon, Luke and I brought the ottoman that I found roadside and had stored in the barn for the last several months. We found it, I think it was over the summer. somebody had set it out to the road and it was in really perfect condition. And so I put it in my van. I had a vision for making a slipcover, adding new feet. I've planned the fabric, the feet, I had it all done. He brought it in today, we swapped out the feet, and I draped the fabric over it just so that way I could get like a visual for how it would look in our space. And I think after all that I've invested mentally in this, it is just too big. So this has been my plan for the week, for recording for a YouTube video and blog post to do a makeover on this. And I think I'm gonna have to scrap the idea, which is always really hard because you have this sunk cost kind of in your head. Not so much the actual cost of the fabric and the legs, but the thought of how I imagined that this would go, because I sort of planned the living room around a little ticking stripe ottoman in the middle, and the legs went on just fine. And then now as it's sitting here, I'm like, I want to make this work, but it is definitely just way too big. This was sitting out in the barn, and I think the scale just didn't really occur to me because of it being in a huge barn. And unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna work. So that video's not gonna happen this week or ever. Well, it may eventually if I find the right ottoman for it. But sometimes this just happens with DIY. You have a certain thing you think, and then whenever you get it all together, it just doesn't work out. Theo, you are a mess by now today. I'm gonna change you out of this outfit. Okay, that's much better. This is my already 4-month-old here. Getting so big. Theo. Theo. So recently on Instagram, I came across a young lady doing reels, and they were really adorable. And she was sharing her book company where they take classics and they add skills to them. And so I was instantly sold and bought the entire set. So they just came in the mail. I'm gonna put these on my bookshelf. I'm gonna peek through them, probably tonight, look through them. You can find her on Instagram at Farmhouse Book Co. Yeah, on Instagram. Really neat account, so I'm excited to get these into our collection. My plan is they'll be just a nice resource whenever any kid is a little bit bored and there's not something else for them to do. I'm going to just hand them one of these books.